Ilikuwaje actor?
Yore siria te muthenya ugo mwasi ni ugakorwo ati star. Bruce Willis hivi.
Uko poa? Uko poa. Ramani uko ocha.
Niguthie Nairobi.
Na Nairobi nikuo koma thina na mirimo cituraga. Ni uyu uko.
You are Nairobi kutoboa hadi janges.
Natafuta ka life.
Atukindi life hapa.
Unaweza ni organize ya wax?
Unajua Gaza uradi ni maspray hapa. Lakini kuna mambo kichuri, manyapunde.
I want an audition.
Edition bila do. Sisi lazima ka nice.
Pia amebonga.
Jaluo ile dawa gari yako.
Arjai dunga, arjai chapia ndai live.
Ndio maana arjai shika kiso. It's not about punishing them. It's about giving them a wake-up call.
That guy's not a babe. That's why I like him.
Mabis, wanadai ati showbiz 50-50.
Nakiwa kausha.
Sisi watu, si ni maiti.
It feels like I have to live two different people every day.
I'm a very, very impatient person. I've managed over the years to control my impatience with other people, but I still have it with me. I'm very impatient with myself, if that makes sense. When I look back, I mean, I used to be very good in writing insha's compositions. If I got anything below 30, I was upset since I was a kid. Very good at telling stories, very imaginative. I saw the world vividly, in my own way, if I may say. And by the time I got to high school, by the time I was in Form 4, I was a drama chairman. So when I look back at all these things, before then I didn't understand. When I look back, I see clearly my path had been set from the word go. I did marketing in school. I haven't gone to anybody's film school. As you know, in Kenya, there are how many professions, especially for people my age? Either you are a doctor, a lawyer, is it engineering? Yeah. Engineering, and then architect. Those, yeah, and the pharmacists. Those ones, anything else, you're joking. And worst case scenario, marketing and business. So, and you fail a teacher, yes. I was never the academic type, let me tell you. I couldn't sit still. That is the thing. And I couldn't understand. I used to go, you know how people used to go after prep to go and read again. I just used to go because people are doing it and you feel, you know, weird. And if I found anyone who was not doing it, I'm cool. So for me, the prep time allocated was enough. And getting up in the morning to go for tea, I never had breakfast. If you see my pictures in high school, you don't believe. I was this thin, because getting up to go for breakfast was a task in high school. So I was one of those kids. By the time I was in Form 1, I went for funkies because I knew who were the people to get hooked up with. You know, I went to boarding school in class 5, and I totally loved it because it was going somewhere, and I was always looking forward to something. The morning where you close school, when you fold your sheets, you're going home, the best time ever. You know, so there's always something happening in my life, and I think that's what really, for me, has been the thing about my life. And by the time I went to high school, I remember in Form 1 when other kids were crying, I couldn't understand. I used to look at other kids. you're crying, and here we're being given a locker, and you can keep bread, and bluebird, and sugar. These are things we used to hide underground in primary school, and you're here crying, what's wrong with you? So, high school drama, remember going to quartet in Form 1, never been done before. Funkies, people used to go in third form. Form 1, you're very lucky if you go. Went to Funkies, I was a scout. By the time, again in Form 1, I was commanding. There used to be a small group of elite scouts who used to do the flag raising every Friday morning. And only time you got to command was in, by the time you got to Form 3. I did it in Form 1. And I used to have a voice. And I remember the first time I got that chance, I was there. Tease, a lot, tease. And all the Form 2s were laughing at me. And they were all told to remain behind to be sorted. So I think for me, a lot of things, when I look back, started, happening way early for me. I think it's because I always went for what I wanted to do. Never thought twice about it, if this is what I want to do, I did it. It was that simple for me. I think the main thing is I was not afraid to fail. I think that's what drives me. I'm not afraid to fail. Even when I come up here, I was telling Gina, I'm not afraid to, if I can't talk to you right, or if I come here and I don't know what to say, I'm not afraid because this is not what I do. I know what I do. If I fail in that, then that's a problem. So for me, it's always been go for what you want to do. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's that simple. No one has died. Yeah, so I did marketing mainly because, again, it's not a 9-to-5 job. I used to see a neighbor of mine who had a marketing job and it's all over the place. So I decided that's what I'm going to do, because I'm not going to be sitting behind a desk all day. And when I finished marketing, I needed some internship, which happened to be in a production house, which was then owned by my auntie, Jerry Karago, a renowned filmmaker in this industry. She had just come back from Hollywood and wanted to make Kenyan films, wanted to take the film industry to the next level. And I remember sitting with her in her office, this tiny office, and she said, we're going to make a movie. I said, okay. And she's like, you remember that movie we watched the other day? It's called Dangerous Liaisons. Like, yeah. Like an 18th century movie about love and lust. And I was like, okay, how are we going to make a movie here in Kenya about love and lust? Like, yeah, I have a story of this guy who's had 2 chicks. They have drama, he goes for the other one, and these 2 chicks have never left him. So it was like a triangle thing. It was a real thing, a friend of hers. And they said, yeah, that's the movie we're going to make. And so The Dangerous Affair, for some of you who know, came out in 2002, was born. So I was involved in that whole process, from saying we're going to make a movie, to writing scripts, to the photocopy, which I hate till today. I photocopied a lot. I mean, scripts, ideas. Something about scripts. You don't write a script and then you agree. You get to a point where you agree we're going to make the script. Finances are done. You're going to start production. But ideas are things that keep changing. So you find the script has changed. So the whole script that you had and had made like 20 copies for everyone, you have to make them again. And these are 100 pages. And those days, my photocopiers for Chomwa in 2020 were not there. So it was you stand there and put 1 page. It turns out you put another one. So I did that for 1 week. Every day you're going to hit photocopiers. So I was young, 20. I'm like, okay, this is fun. Mostly because we hung every day till 2 a.m. or something with the actors. And then we'd get up at 6 and go to work and shoot the movie the whole day, go back and hang again. And I was young, so like, this is fun. I mean, leave the marketing thing. This is what's happening. So the first few years, I just did this for fun. I thought I'd do it for fun. But I started getting drawn into it. I found myself liking what the directors were doing. You know, directors were bringing, I mean, we are on set with people, but when you go and see the rushes later on, you see what the directors have come up with. I used to find that so fascinating. Like, a story has just been, it's like catching an idea and putting it for you, everybody to see. And I started getting very fascinated with directing. And I was drawn more and more into the director's department. So I started helping out with directing extras. Extras are the people you see go behind the main actors, just walking up and down. If you look closely, by the way, even in these big movies, you'll see the people you see behind are the same. Once they walk off frame, they walk back. But you never notice because you're watching your main guy. So that was my job at the back there, just making guys go back and forth. And I found it quite fun. So I grew, I mean, years passed. I just found myself, I don't want to go do my marketing thing. Project after project, I got to work on foreign productions. And it was, for me, interesting in those early years, you know, creating these films and sitting in the cinema and seeing what was taking you so long to do that ends up being a few seconds or a few minutes. And so slowly I climbed up the ladder, second assistant, third assistant director, second, and then I became a first, where I quamed for quite a while. Because for me, directing was I almost thought directors were like small gods. Because even the way they come on set, everybody comes in at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. early, you get everything ready, and then you sit. The moment that guy walks in at 7, it's like the president. The car comes in, right to where other cars are not allowed. The door is open for him, he walks out, things start happening. Cameras start rolling, sound, you start hearing people rolling, everything is happening. So for me, directors then were like small gods, these guys. So I never saw myself being one of those. So I became an assistant director for 6 years. An assistant director, first assistant is like the manager. You manage the set, you manage the whole production, and you're the link between the production side and the creative process. So that the director, all the director thinks about is what is putting into picture. The other things he doesn't want to know. He or she doesn't want to know. You know nowadays, but in Constitution, there's a percentage. He and she. So I have to be careful. Yeah, so first assistant director for quite a while, about 6 years, and then I got to do my first drama series, which was called Changes. I was the first assistant there, and I worked on it with a director called Angelo, and we were collaborative, and yes, in this industry, so I want to keep quiet. Yes, so, where was I? Changes. Yeah, so we did season 1, and then we were quite collaborating. I mean, I had a lot more experience than Angelo. Angelo did more stuff in documentaries and stuff, but come to drama, I had a lot more. So I collaborated a lot with him, and come season 2, the producers felt that I should try directing. Have you ever thought about it? And to be honest, I had never. And up to this day, I actually kick myself for fearing to direct so much. Because again, for me, I get into things. So that's one of the things I'm annoyed about, that I didn't do it myself. Someone had to come and tell me that you need to try directing now. So I did season 2 of Changes, 26 episodes. Never been to film school, never directed before, and here I have 26 episodes. 26 episodes of half an hour times 30. 26 times 30 is 26 hours divided by 2 is 13 hours. A movie is about an hour and a half, so we're talking 6 movies, basically. I was shooting 6 movies out of sequence, which is, in layman terms, it's like we shoot movies out of sequence because of budget. So basically, the story, like Nairobi Half Life, we start in Shags, come to Nairobi, and end up the guys have died and blah, blah, blah. But because we can't afford to go to Kiambu, shoot Kiambu, come to Nairobi, shoot Nairobi, then, oh, there's a scene in Kiambu, we go back to Kiambu, so you have to shoot whatever is in Kiambu first, then come shoot whatever is in downtown Nairobi. So you schedule it like that. So you can imagine the whole 26 episodes broken up like that. Even for your mind, you get lost. And which episode is this scene? And I was the only director at the time. Even now in Hollywood, the TV series you watch is not one director. It's impossible to be one director in a series of TV, a TV show. So normally a few directors. So before we did that, so in season 2 I was by myself. It was draining, but I didn't know how to quit. So I just kept at it until we finished. And it's one of the things that I'm really proud of myself for doing, because it was a platform to my next level of now making Nairobi Half Life. Nairobi Half Life was a product of a workshop that happens in Nairobi, supported by Germans every year. There was a movie called Soul Boy that I went to help set up for people to see in Kibera, because it was shot in Kibera. When I saw the quality and I saw the movie up there, I knew I wanted to do that. And I applied. And my application was a 1-minute clip that I did of a scene that I wrote down that morning when I woke up at 5 a.m. before going to shoot changes. I just thought of a scene. I wrote it down, shot it, it was accepted. I got into the workshop, over 800 applications for directors only, and they only needed to take 10. Shortlisted to the workshop, went through the workshop for 2 weeks, and then at the end of it, I was selected to direct Nairobi Half Life. I expected sort of a buzz with Nairobi Half Life, but what happened blew my mind. I thought the culture was completely dead. I know the culture, cinema-going culture was there in Kenya before, because my uncles, they always say how they used to sneak in Cameo. Apparently Cameo cinema in the 80s, you could watch, the movies went all the time. Yes. So you watch, you get out, the next people get in. My uncle used to say how he used to hide in there and not come out and watch like 6 movies at a go. So the culture was there. And the lines used to be for Kenya Cinema, from Kenya Cinema all the way to the South B mats. Can you imagine seeing people lining up to watch a local movie in Kenya Cinema like that? So the buzz that Nairobi Half Life created for me was, it just told me that the culture is there. And for the film industry right now, that's what needs to happen. We need to bring that culture back for everyone in Kenya and in Africa as a whole. So if you're a guy of downloading local films, tafadhali. Those other ones, I'll achilia you for now. But local films, please, just go out, buy. The culture will grow. Yeah? I think my time is over.